Hey everyone, it's Gary from Peacekeeper's Armory here. I'm showing off latest build. It's another Padawan chassis for a Graflex. This is an Empire Strikes Back mode. This is a Roman Props Graflex. I'm not sure which gen, though I assume second gen, simply because the Soul Sword blade holder fit it quite well. So it does have a Sloth Furnace card, the grip screws, and Cobalt, and this does have the Wampa Cave Scene alignment, stamping, and all that cool stuff, which is really nice. I added some solder point. Well, here, I'll just go through the whole thing. So the only modifications I made were I weathered the pins and the contacts a little bit. I added some solder onto the circuit card. The other side is still bare, so if you want to use that or get some professionally done, I just kind of threw that on there. Some real solder. They do have the vintage style ones, which I recommend you get for the owner, which looks really good, and I'll compare this to a real one in a minute. These were already on here, and then this was screwed on here. I took the screws out, drilled it out for these two rivets so that some sound can go through there, and then I drilled another hole in there, which you probably can't quite see, for some extra sound venting. So it turned out pretty good. Oh, and I also removed the beer tab for proper Empire Strikes Back, as well as added some tape on here, chrome tape. Still needs to be flattened out a little bit, which is fine. There you go. Easy peasy. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the outside. It has the Goth Padawan with the stock pins in there, a Smuggler's Outpost 28mm speaker, and a Profi Board V2.2. Yeah, so just real quick before I kind of get into the how-to of it, just to kind of compare, this is my all vintage Graflex. This is the Fulmer, legit stamping and orientation without any modifications, real Cobalt, the whole 9 yards, and this is a real Otis clamp card. So as you can tell, I mean, it looks pretty good. The screws are a little bit smaller, but you know, and the clamp looks a little bit newer. But other than that, it looks pretty freaking awesome. So, like I said, it turned out really good. Just wanted to compare that real quick. Now for operation, it's going to be main button and then the auxiliary button. I already sent the owner the config for how that works out, but just to play a little bit. Quick press with power off is power, to power it on, and to hold it down is to power off. Now the button in here, I put a little rubber stopper to depress the actual button in there. So you can see that right here. It sometimes, depending on how it's twisted, it doesn't hit that quite well, so you might want to adjust this a little bit. Or if you want, honestly, this is just glued in there. You can use something else. Some people use like a little Lego, single Lego thing, or something else if you like, to trade that out. It works pretty good though, so no real issues. I'll mention again later, but when you do remove the chassis from here, you're going to want to take the top button off too, just because because the threads push down onto the plastic here and you don't want to rip anything off. So like that, and then to get music playing both while it's on and off, you hold this for a second and release. I think all of the fonts on here except one has a track, so A New Hope, Binary Sunset. And then to switch fonts, you
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
So this is Empire Strikes Back. So Force Effects is going to be you push the power button quickly while it's on.
Don't make me destroy you.
Or you can hold and twist, point it up.
Join me. Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Auxiliary is going to, or I'm sorry, the auxiliary button is going to be Blaster Block. And then lockup is going to be hold. You hold this and clash. So press, or I'm sorry, hold, clash. So really, Yeah, see, so it did start that because I missed it the first time. So if it does do that, worst case scenarios is you're gonna start that track. So again, it's pretty easy. Basically, you just have to hit it before it shuts off the power. And if you press, hold it, and release it before it shuts off the power, it'll play the track. So, pretty cool. So this has the fight scene between Vader and Luke track. These are all full tracks too, so it's not just a part of it.
I'm never touching that thing again.
And these are all 10 of these fonts are Kyberphonic. Just fantastic font maker. So this is going to be The Force Awakens, which I believe is Rey's theme. Yep. And then a little darker blue. Oops.
Something inside me is always...
This is episode 8, so this is going to be training while she's on the Doctor. This one has the trailer music, the final trailer music for episode 9. So it was one of my favorites, so good to play. So I just thought it's really fun to play around when you turn the saber on at a certain time, you know. I just thought it was cool. This is Survivor Blue. So this is the Fallen Order game. Blue is my favorite. It's kind of the most, I don't want to say generic, but it's the closest to the stock sound that he uses. And then I used, one of my favorite themes is, I always thought it sounded like an adventure. I think it's right after, spoilers, you get the crystal. And you're kind of going around Ilum. So yeah, that's that. Tusken Slayer, I'm not going to go through all of them. Vader defaults to red, and then it has color changing, which I'll show you how to do in a second. Emperor defaults to red as well.
I am Kanan Jarrus,
and then blind
Jedi Knight.
So for color changing, you point it down, you hold the power button and twist, and you'll hear that color. Now just to kind of show, it's currently in the color change mode right now. So this is actually kind of not the best one, because the color for A New Hope is a little weirder. So I'm gonna use a different one.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
For A New Hope, it uses to get that kind of weird green-blue flicker from the classic versions of the movies. It just looks weird with color change because they're different colors when it's flickering. So I'll use this one, which has a more clean blue flicker. It's going to play the track because reasons. So now when you twist it, you can go through all the colors, and then to choose which one you want, you just hold the power button. So now when you turn it off and on, it'll stay that way, but if you flip
I'm never touching
through
that something.
The Force is
back
with
to
you.
it, it's going to go back to the default.
But you are not a Jedi.
So, worked out pretty good. Now, to access the inside, so you take this off, or you undo the clamp, twist, and then carefully pull it out. it likes to catch on the little clamp. I forget what they're called, but they like to catch on the bottom part of the speaker holder. So here's the kill switch. Push that off, and then it's not going to turn on. Save the battery a little bit more. You can access the port and board, or I'm sorry, the port and the SD card pretty easily with some pliers or tweezers. You can grab the SD card out if you want. For the board, if you want to do some updates, you're going to need one just like this, so it can fit inside here, and then boom, you can plug that guy in. This is a removable battery. So to do so, the only reason you're going to need to pull this out is to change or charge the battery. So pull out both of the red buttons and then pull this out. And then here is the chassis as a whole. I just started doing this. I'm going to need to get a different kind for the future because I don't really like it. But this is just a little ribbon I got. It's like gift wrap ribbon, but black. Just to help pull the battery out so you don't have to dig something underneath it. Positive is downward, a little out of the norm, but for the kill switch, for less wire passageways through here, it was just easier. So just turn it off, and then you can pop this out. And just like that, it's good to go. If you don't want this or whatever, you can cut it, and then it won't be an issue. Just when you're done, or when it's charged up, put the ribbon across this way, and then negative flat side forward. And there is, let me see if I can get it to show. There, you can kind of see it. There's a negative sign right here and a positive one over here. So just in case you forget. I always put the label facing down just because you don't need the label facing up, and it looks a little bit more clean if it's all black. Pop that in there, and then you can tuck this right in here. You can see it's a little messed up because the little clamp prongs have caught it a couple times. So just put it in there, and then it shouldn't be an issue. Now for this, you can kind of see the slide switch in there. It likes to move around a little bit, not up and down, but also side to side. So make sure when you put this back in here, you're going to you want to make sure that that is flat up and down, so that it doesn't get caught, because it has to go through this little channel. So I'm trying to do this with the camera. So put this guy up. Sometimes it's easier to look through here or through the top of the emitter. You're not really going to be able to see it on camera. Basically, you just align it such that the channel is going right over the switch, or the slide switch, and then boom, good to go. And I'm going to show you and link you. You're going to want a blade retention attachment. You can order it on Shapeways, just to plug in here, and that way when you tighten this in, it'll retain the blade. Right now there's no blade retention, so something to keep in mind for that. So this will lock the chassis into place though right now, if I can get it to thread. Sometimes you have to back thread it a little bit. There we go. Now chassis won't go anywhere. And then this also, as you can see, some little markings on the plastic. Like I mentioned, it'll push down on the button cover. There, that's pretty good feedback. Get that there. Turn it on. It's ridiculously loud outside of the hilt, so do it at your own discretion. And boom, good to go. So that's your Saber nutshell. 18650 high drain battery. Make sure you get the right external charger for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Turned out really nice. Oh, you know what? I do have, just kind of as a extra bonus. Oh, give me 1 second. You did send me your MPP 2.0 as well, so I figured I'll show that. I think it says a Pico board in there. It might be Nano, I'm not sure. But I fixed the switch, like I mentioned, so I turn it on. It's a lot quieter than the other one, but now it turns on. So I sent you some photos of this, but and you have the clamp, I believe. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the way this was installed, but I did my best with what I had. So I just I took this whole thing out. I rewired the switches and put some extra heat shrink on there just to keep it more safe from the threads, which I guess is what happened last time from whoever installed this. And then I drilled and tapped another hole further up here, and rotated this. So before, the tap screw or the set screw right here that was holding the chassis in place was pressing directly on the battery, which I don't recommend. So instead, I rotated it so that a section of this, plastic was going to be right underneath the set screw to give it a little bit of protection. And then putting it further up here allowed to be more secure. So it's not really going anywhere. It's not going to wobble out. We mentioned over chat that you're going to want to replace this with a blade retention screw, so a little bit longer. You could do this one normally, but because of how this chassis sits and where the LED is sitting, the LED is directly underneath this, so you can't use the thumb screw variant of it. You're going to have to use that one right there. Other than that, I think that was pretty much it. It's nice, it works, but yeah. In the future, if you ever want to update it, let me know. We can get a better job going on it, but from what I recall, you got a pretty good deal on this. So that's pretty much it for that. So these two should be coming back to you fairly shortly if there's no changes you want me to make config-wise. And then other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one.